Okay, we can see that there are some groupings in here. And these first two over here are navigation tools. I think they're quite obvious. You have the zoom tool that defaults to having the plus sign in there. If you want to zoom out, you hold down the Option or Alt key and you'll get the minus sign. The next tool over here is the hand tool, which will allow you to navigate through your document as you've seen me do in the earlier videos. Next, we have the white balance tool. And the white balance tool, or the eyedropper tool, which is a white balance tool in Camera Raw, does not function the same as the eyedropper tool does in Photoshop. Now, I know that I went through using the eyedropper tool or the white balance tool in a previous module, so I'm not going to bother with that. One thing I do want you to notice is when I move my cursor throughout my document, we can see over here where we had the red, green, and blue numbers showing up. There we go. We can see that we have varying things going on, but it's only good when I have my cursor here. But when I move over here to kind of point to it or move around, I lose that. This leads me into the next tool. This is the eyedropper tool with a little target thing there. It's called the color sampler tool. What it allows me to do is set down a sample point. So I'm going to click once there. Now the interface shrunk down a little bit to accommodate the sampler points that go across the top here. I can have a total of 9. I don't think I'm going to put all 9 in for this image, but what I want you to do is take a look at where this number 1 target sampler thing is. I have my readout right there, so no more of losing everything when I come over here and take a look or move some sliders around. I have no doubt what it is. It's right there. Now I'm going to come over here and put in another one. So I have this value there. Just in case I want to compare and keep things there, I can come over here and click there. There's a neutral thing, and it's pretty darn neutral, isn't it? Couldn't get much closer to that. All right, so now if I wanted to keep track of that color, I have that over there. Now I can put in a whole pile more. Like I said, I can go up to 9, but I'm not going to bother. The whole idea is for you to understand that we can actually target certain colors in our image, keep an eye on the red, green, and blue and the relationship between the red, green, and blue while we make our adjustments using the other tabs. We might want to use this if we have certain conditions that we must maintain or arrive at for the client's specific needs. If you put a point down, it's not quite where you want it to be, you can just put your cursor inside. You see that your cursor now changes to a black arrowhead with a little target symbol. Click and reposition. This is number 1, and if you look over in the readout up here, nothing changes until I let go of my mouse. So if I can come over here and do this and put it in there, and then it changes to that, and I can say, okay, that's good enough. I've got the blue from here. Well, maybe I'll put the blue over there. And so now my 1 is there, my 2 is there. I think I'm going to just do this and bring this back over to here. So now I've got my 1, my 2, and then I've got a 3 and a 4. All right, 3 is over here, 4 is over there. Those are the main things I need to keep an eye on. Now, if I want to actually get rid of one of these points, let's say I don't want to have this point anymore, what I do is I hold down the Option or Alt key, I get a pair of scissors, and then I just click. That gets rid of the individual ones. If I want to get rid of all of them at once, then what I do is I just click on Clear. That's as simple as it gets. The next tool I want to talk about is this next one over here, and it is called the Target Adjustment tool. This is really something. This is so cool it's not funny. What it allows you to do is to click somewhere in your document and then using it in its default manner, I can either lighten or darken that area that I've clicked on. So let's say I wanted to darken my sky a little bit. I can actually just click in here and drag in a downward fashion. Well, not only am I darkening my sky, but I'm also darkening my whole image, but it's all being based on where I originally started to click. Now, what is it actually doing? Well, I'm just going to drag this down a little bit further, and then we can come over to here, and I think if we come into our parametrics, we can actually see what's actually going on. All right, it actually works in the parametric curve box. If I click and hold on this, we can see that the default option is the parametric curve, lightening or darkening our image. But we can come in and change the hue, the saturation, the luminance, or even go into grayscale mix. Not many people are aware that we have these options. I have to point them out to you. So I'm going to do that and then possibly an undo to get out of that option. And now I'm going to go over to the hue. And when I click on that, we're now over in the hue here. If I were to click, hold, and drag in a downward fashion, I am now taking my blue slider, moving it to the left, which if we're looking at the brightness darkness aspect of these sliders, going to the left darkens and drags the slider to the left, dragging up, right, moves the slider to the right. There we go. Everything is beautiful. That almost put things back to normal, didn't it? That was a pretty good shot, John. Thanks. All right. Now, the next one is saturation. And again, if I drag down, I desaturate. If I drag up, I am pushing the slider to the right. I'm just going to put that back to 0. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to choose luminance. And now I can choose to darken those blues. Now that's going a little bit too much, but that's just a demonstration for you to darken those blues. I'm putting them back to 0. And then let's come in here and check out what the grayscale mix is going to do. Doesn't do anything except it now allows me to click in the sky. When I drag the cursor down, I want to keep my eye on the sliders for the grayscale mix over here. Since I'm dragging in the blue, I'm noticing that my blue slider is the one that's moving. Oh, now that's what we're talking about. All right, look at that. That is so much more dramatic than the default. Wow. Who knew I'd get that excited over that, eh? Huh. Oh well. Anyways, I'm going to undo that and then possibly undo again. And then I'm going to just come in here and verify that all these guys are just kind of where I had them earlier. Come back up to here and put it to parametric curve because that's what I'm anticipating it will do the next time I come in here. But now know that we can adjust the lightness and darkness by clicking, dragging up and down. The hue, increase to one end or the other. Saturation, decrease or increase the saturation. Luminance, lighten or darken. The colors that I'm clicking on. And the grayscale mix has got to be one of the coolest ones that I've seen around in a long time. I really like this one. Now, the next thing I want to show you is the crop tool and the straighten tool.